As a vet for 17 years, I've seen countless dogs suffer from torn ligaments, hip dysplasia, and other joint problems that could have been prevented. For decades, we recommended spaying and neutering before 6 months. We were wrong. Studies now show that neutering early dramatically increases the risk of torn ligaments and hip dysplasia in large breeds. In this video, I'll share what research reveals about the best timing for different breeds, because what's right for a Chihuahua isn't right for a Golden Retriever. I'll show you why it's so critical to decide on the timing based on the breed of dog, because research shows that for one popular breed, when we try to avoid joint problems by neutering later, we can actually increase the risk of cancers. There are actually some breeds that shouldn't be spayed at all, and some where the timing really increases the disease risk. I'll reveal what these breeds are and what you can do instead. If you want to skip ahead and get my free breed guide to spay-neuter timing right now, click the link in the description. This guide covers 35 breeds, covers mixed breeds too, all based on the latest research. Two of the most common causes of joint problems in dogs are cranial cruciate ligament rupture and hip dysplasia. Cruciate ligament rupture was by far the most common cause of lameness in large breed dogs in my practice. This is the same as an ACL tear in a human. The ligament inside the knee joint tears and the joint becomes unstable. It is so painful and swollen that most dogs can't put any weight on it for several days. The best chance for a good recovery is surgery to stabilize the joint, and this can easily run $2,500 to $8,000 for one of the newer, more advanced surgeries like a TPLO. But the joints always develop arthritis, and there's about a 50% chance that the ligament in the other knee will tear within a year or two. Hip dysplasia is an abnormal development of the ball and socket joint of the hip. Instead of fitting tightly together, the ball and socket fits loosely, and this laxity of the joint develops arthritis over time. This is repaired sometimes with surgeries like total hip replacement, which can cost $7,000 per hip. Many times though, dogs are managed over years for pain and arthritis. It is an inherited condition in dogs, but we know that factors like the timing of neutering can affect the occurrence. All in all, these are two conditions that we would much rather avoid than to try and fix or manage. In the last decade, studies show us that we have an increase in those joint problems with large and giant breed dogs when they are neutered before they've stopped growing. The sex hormones testosterone and estrogen actually signal to the growth plates in the bones to stop growing. When we remove those hormones before the bones have stopped growing, then they don't get that signal to stop and they grow longer than they should. When the bones grow longer, it means the joints come together with different mechanics. And when you have weakened ligaments from a lack of those hormones, plus add in different biomechanics of a joint, you get the perfect storm for a torn ligament or hip dysplasia. The one study that started the ball rolling looked at 759 Golden Retriever records, medical records, and they found that 0 intact dogs, so not spayed or neutered, had a cruciate ligament rupture. 0, compared to 5% in neutered males and 7.7% in females that are spayed. Those animals were spayed or neutered before 1 year of age. The hip dysplasia cases doubled in early neutered Golden Retrievers compared to intact males. Most large and giant breed dogs follow a similar pattern, especially Labrador Retrievers, Bernese Mountain Dogs, Rottweilers, German Shepherd dogs, and large mixed breed dogs. The new and current recommendation is to spay or neuter these animals after maturity, after the bones have stopped growing. Certainly not before a year of age. And keep in mind that large and giant breed dogs often don't stop growing until they're a year and a half old, some of them even up to 2 years of age. It isn't as simple as that for Golden Retrievers though. The Golden Retriever study found that the timing of spay-neuter also affected cancer risk, but not in a way you would expect. Female Golden Retrievers that were spayed after 1 year of age, so a late spay, actually had an increased risk of hemangiosarcoma and mast cell tumor compared to those spayed early or not spayed at all. To make that clear, if we try to decrease the risk of joint problems by spaying late, we actually increase the risk of those cancers. Estrogen does some tricky things in a female's body. It both promotes the growth of cells and sensitizes them while simultaneously protecting them from cancerous changes. When that estrogen has been on board with a few heat cycles and then is removed by a spay, it actually removes that protective effect, and those sensitized cells are more likely to have a cancerous transformation. This actually happens in perimenopausal and menopausal women as well. A similar effect has been seen in Shih Tzus, Cocker Spaniels, and Boston Terriers, where if we spay or neuter late, we actually get an increase in cancers. Other cancers work a bit differently though. Usually, when we see an increased risk in cancers, it's actually linked to early neutering. For example, we can increase risk of lymphosarcoma in golden retrievers, bone tumors in Rottweilers, and different types of cancers in border collies and Doberman pinschers. A different study performed over 400 MRI brain scans on dogs' brains and found that there was an 11-fold risk of brain tumors for spayed females compared to intact females, those that aren't spayed. This is also due to the loss of the protective effect of estrogen. Boxers in particular have brains that age more quickly, and they are at higher risk for brain cancers when they are spayed or neutered early. So what breeds do researchers recommend not sterilizing at all? Female golden retrievers and male Doberman pinschers, both for that increased cancer risk. Click the link below for the breed by breed guide for the best time to spay and neuter, 35 breeds and mixed breeds as well. This is something that you can take in to talk to your vet about when it's time to make the decision of when or if to spay or neuter your pet. Armed with the latest information, you can be an advocate for your pet and make an informed decision. And if you have a friend with a puppy, be sure to share this video. It could save a lot of heartache. You may be wondering why we spay and neuter pets at all. Well, they live longer, and studies prove that. Intact animals die more frequently from infectious disease and trauma, but it is true that spayed and neutered pets die more often from cancer. Another reason to spay is that spaying greatly decreases the risk of mammary cancers and pyometra, which is an infection of the uterus that requires surgery. The other reason is, of course, to prevent unwanted litters of puppies and kittens, and this has led animal shelter groups to really push for early spays and neuters, sometimes very young animals. This may be good for pet population control, but in most cases, it is not the best for the individual pet. There are actually surgeries that make it impossible for the pets to reproduce, but still retain those organs that produce the hormones. Ask your vet about this potential option. The main veterinary associations in North America have recently changed their recommendations to reflect what we now know about the dangers of early spay and neuter, and I hope those animal rescue and animal shelters follow suit. There is always a tension to balance what is good for the individual pet versus the common good, but as veterinarians and owners, it is our responsibility to advocate for the individual pet. I think the fact that animal shelters are still quite full, despite having a very high spay and neuter rate in North America, means we need to go beyond the simple answers. Behavior problems are the main reason for relinquishment of pets to animal shelters. The underlying cause of that is often anxiety in pets. Watch this video next for the top natural supplements and training tips to decrease anxiety in pets. And don't forget to get a copy of the breed by breed best timing for spay and neuter guide. Link in the description.